Hello, welcome to the driving seat and welcome to this, the 2020 brand new Land Rover Defender 110 that Marshall's Land Rover in Melton Mowbray have kindly lent us for a couple of hours to see what it's like, and then we're going to put in the postcode for where we're going to go and see just how easy it is to navigate around. Search. Where are we? Search. And then I got the postcode here. LE15 8BL. Full Brick Lane. And now that was pretty straightforward. So we've got a screen up on the front here showing me all directions of where we go, which looks really nice. This new sat-nav system has machine learning which will automatically update when there's a quicker route, alternative or traffic. So far so good. I can see my phone signal, my battery level. I think we've got some all-round camera systems. We'll have a look at that stuff a bit more later. But for now, we need a coffee, so we're going to head off and see what it's like.
Take the second exit at the roundabout.
So one feature that's really cool on the new Defender, and although it's a feature that's really cool, it's kind of necessary because the visibility in the back really isn't that great with the spare wheel that you've got in the 3 seats, is this clear sight rear view mirror. So that flips into a camera, so I can see exactly what's happening behind me. And then you flip it and it comes back to a normal mirror so you can see what the dog and the kids are doing in the back. That's a really, really cool feature. I think the other thing that I really like on this one, and there are 3 options on this, we've got this massive sliding panoramic sunroof. I think there's 2 other options. One is a fabric sliding roof and the other is a color-coded standard roof. Something really cool on the navigation system I've got up here is it shows me how far we are completed on the journey, and it's got the little orange and white stripes, and there was some red at the start when we had some traffic, just to kind of give you an indication of how far you are along the journey and what's coming up. It's a really, really cool little feature, and I still can't get over how nice and clear this screen is. It'd be great to see how it ages and how the software updates, but I guess only time will tell on that one. So this next bit of road, in every car I've driven on it, is always super, super uncomfortable and bumpy, and I think it's probably a really good test for how the Defender just eats the road and keeps it still. So we've got no image stabilization other than that's in the iPhone here. Just doing 60 miles an hour. It's actually seemed pretty good. Not long ago I had a little Range Rover Evoque on this road, and although it had the big wheels on it, 21-inch wheels, I sort of felt like I needed to go to the physio afterwards. That's been really good. That's the worst bit of the road over. I don't feel like it's been super bumpy. I mean, the footage will probably tell a better picture than what I do, but it handled that really well. The ride quality is nice. We haven't been off-road and we won't get a chance to go off-road, but through the corners, again, here's another corner, felt really nice. Get past this cyclist without knocking him off, because it'll probably do some damage in this great big thing. This is a good little stretch of road again, fairly tight, a few nice bits of corners, and then it comes up to a sharp left hand onto the motorway. So going around here again, just 60 miles an hour, you come down, just nice and smooth, dab on the brakes, handles it really nicely, very smooth. I'm not going to say it's a sports car, it's definitely not designed to be that, but it's certainly driving really nice. And one thing I really, really like is how solid these indicators feel. Really, really nice. I know it's a stupid thing, but if you think about where this car is designed to target and who they're trying to get as their customers, they're the kind of things that people will notice. So this is a really good test for the engine. We've got the D240 pulling out onto the A1, very tight slip road there. It's actually got a nice grumble to it. We've got up to 75 there. Just sort of hold back now into a cruise. I would say, I'm just checking the windows are all closed. It's pretty loud in here. There's a lot of wind noise. I guess the upright windshield doesn't help with that. But it isn't the quietest place to be. I mean, I can hear myself talking a little bit louder than I probably would like to be talking at the moment. Certainly in a Range Rover Sport, there's a much more cabin refinement. So we're cruising at 70 miles an hour now. And as I said before, really, this is a very comfortable place to be. It's, you know, it's smooth. The gearbox seems fairly okay. When you put your foot down, it hesitates for a little bit, doesn't really change down gear, but that's not what this car was designed for. And that kind of comes on to a really important point, and I'm not really sure what this car was designed for, because if I'm going to spend, and I think this car here as spec'd is about £55,000, if I'm going to spend £55,000 on a Land Rover or on an SUV, I'm going to find it very difficult to buy this car over a slightly older Range Rover Sport. I'm not sure you can get into a P400e at this price, but definitely the SDV8 and the TDV8, you can easily pick up a nice one of those. You can even pick up a full-size Range Rover used around 2017, 2018, probably no problem for that price. And I think that's where they're going to have problems with this vehicle, especially as they start to look out to the US market and worldwide. I'm really starting to hear now, as we're getting into a cruise, the engine noise is fine. There's no noises there, but there's a lot of rattles, which I guess are typically Land Rover. I'm not quite sure whether something's loose down there, but it's certainly not the most refined of cabins, although it does look super nice. We've got some really cool details over here, like the old Defender. We've got these old bolts that are exposed, which look really nice. And I think it's a very, very difficult car to understand. I just can't put my finger on it yet as to what the purpose of it is. And maybe by the time we take the car back in a couple of hours' time, we'll have a better understanding of what it was designed for. But right now, I'm struggling to find out why. We've got this black pack here, which gives you this as black as opposed to the silver on the standard models. These grille fake plastic plates, not really sure what they're there to do, I guess just make it look rugged. We've got some really nice grey wheels on this car, although personally I wouldn't have 20s, I like the 19-inch standard wheels. We do have these side steps, they're fixed. You can also get some adjustable ones, and you can get this bar as well without any of the actual step, just a visual bar. This plate here, although it looks like it's part of the design, it's actually integral to the structure of the car. It's part of the pillar that runs down here. So you will see on some of the models with the packs, the options that you can get. There's this car with a gear pack basically that sits on here, and a roof rack as well. We saw one of those back at the garage. We'll have another look when we get there. One other thing on this car, we've got the classic mud flaps. It doesn't have the additional plastic protection that the Explorer pack has, but we've got park sensors. We've got this massive spare tyre on the back here. You couldn't really have a Defender or a proper SUV without that. Nice attention to detail. The Land Rover cap is perfectly upright. Good job to Melton again. And then we've got this huge boot here, which in the back you've got 1,075 litres when the seats are up. If I were to put the seats down, you get 2,300 litres. So you're going to get, I don't think the boot space is a consideration really, it's a big old boot space. This is very traditional for the Defender. One thing that is really cool is it's on a hydraulic system, so it doesn't just swing randomly and stop and hit itself. It's a really, really good feature. Looks nice. We've got this really rugged tray in here. Not really sure what's underneath it. Pair of gloves and the jack. Loads and loads of storage packs for your bags. Got some really cool features. We've got, what's this do? Oh, I'm actually lifting the car up with this button here. So I guess we've got an air suspension system, just in case you wanted to lift up the car and make it harder for your dog, I guess. I don't really know. How do I know what level it was at? If I just hold it all the way, does it go back where it was? Have I gone too far now? Well, I don't know what's happened there. Anyway, I guess we've changed the ride height. There's so many charging points in this car. We've got literally charging points everywhere. All in the front, we've got a USB lead for the phone. We've got a USB-C lead for your iPad. We've got charging points in the back. It's just really built to be a family car, one that you can go out, explore, plug in your cool box, plug in your fridge. If you need to be, you know, I can imagine film crews in this with generators running off of the back plugs. It's got everything you really need. And in the back here, the space seems fantastic. Really easy to get in. I'm about 6 foot tall. I could get in here no problems. Really nice, solid. Got some decent cup holders here. More charging points here. That's an actual USB 5-volt port. That's just a clip for a screw. We've got loads of charging points down here, proper USB chargers here. We've got some of the cigarette lighter ports there. Got this beautiful panoramic sunroof, which I think is a massive hit, certainly for me, and I know that the kids, if you have kids, would love that. And we've also got these really cool safari windows with another clip in there. I guess that's for a dog cage or something. But you know, that's super cool, keeping the heritage of the old Defender. And I know that that wasn't easy to design. That's actually part of the structure of the car. It's not just there to be aesthetic. Looking at other things then, practicalities, we talked about this. The seats, always a good test to see how easy it is to put the seats down. So single pull down. Looks like I need to pull the headrest down. No, is that as far as they go? Got this rolls out. No, what's this? That's a cover. I guess that's for the dog cover. Probably have to look at the seats a little bit more. How is the headrest come down? Oh, so that folds down. This folds out. That folds down. You do the same with this one. And if you do that both sides, you've got 2,300 litres with this tough rubber plasticky tray. So massive boot space, lights everywhere, light everywhere. Great. So a couple of really nice things as we're cruising now on the motorway with this car. These mirrors are a huge. Visibility is great to the side. It's really nice being up high, kind of commanding the road, looking out. You feel very in control of what's going on. And I want to come back to the video mirror here, the clear sight mirror. I think the first thing I sort of notice is my eyes are so used when I look at a mirror to kind of look into it and focus further into it. I find when I actually look into this, I get a little bit dizzy, whether that's just me or not. But it takes some time to kind of flip between the two, and maybe you just have to leave it in one mode and that's that, and not flip between. But definitely that's something that throws me off. But I do think on the whole, the cabin, the driving position is excellent. I'm really feeling quite comfortable in the car. I think the big letdown really for me is the noise. There's definitely some rattling. The wiper seems to not be sturdy, and we're only doing 70 something miles an hour. What are we doing? I can't even see a digital display yet. 75 miles an hour, and the wipers are rattling, and there's a lot of air noise on the top. But you know, we can live with that for now. Something super cool on this new Defender is the washer jets in the wipers. So if I set them off now, the actual jets are built into the wiper, which does sound expensive when they go wrong, which they probably will be in a Land Rover. But also one thing I have noticed is if you have your windows down while you put your wiper jets on, the spray coming through this window basically guarantees you will have a shower mid-drive. So something to look into there. Some pretty big bumps on this road coming up, and it'll be another really good test to see just how this thing handles them. This particular one up here on the left really shakes every car you drive. Didn't really feel it, to be honest. Very good. Okay, so the Defender comes, there are two Defenders. You've got the 90 and you've got the 110. The 110 is the only model that's physically available at the moment. There's about 60 of them for sale on the Land Rover approved use website. And there's three Defenders. There's a Defender First Edition, and there's a Defender X. Pretty similar to the iPhone, to be honest. With the Defender, you've got the standard Defender itself, you've got the Defender S, and you've got the Defender SE. There's no HSE model available like there are on the Range Rover and the other models. There's no autobiography spec and there's no dynamic specs. You've got the Defender S, the basic Defender, and the SE. All three of those come with options on the engines. You've got the D200 and the D240, both of which are diesel engines. This model that we've got here is the D240, and when we go on our next journey, we'll talk a bit about the performance and the driving of that engine. The first edition comes with one engine, comes in the 240. It's actually a very similar spec to this car, the SE that we've got. And then you've got the X, and the X comes with a P400 engine. That's a petrol engine with 400 brake horsepower. The original car is just completely different, and I can't really see, apart from the utilitarian, the bolts and the fairly raw features in certain parts, I struggle to place this in my mind as a Defender, having grown up seeing the old 90 and the 110, the rugged cars, and thinking about where they've come from. It's very difficult to think about this other than anything than a good family SUV. And the problem with that, with a starting price of just around £46,000, there's a lot of options out there, and especially if you think about what Land Rover are trying to do with this car and take it to a global market. You're looking at the US, you've got the new Ford Bronco coming out pretty soon. You've got lots of other Land Rovers available. You've got lots of Jeep Wranglers. And the reality is, in the US, driving something like this isn't that common, where you've got so many Ford F-150s and 350s and the trucks that people will be buying as opposed to this car. So I think there's some challenges for Land Rover. So far, sales seem to have been strong, although I've read that there are about 22,000 orders of the car so far, which was under analysts' estimates. So we'll really just have to see how they develop now that showrooms are back up and running properly, and once the Defender 90 starts to take orders and starts to look at deliveries, we'll really start to see the impact of those sales on the Land Rover numbers. Massive houses over on that peninsula. Pretty much all of them that were for sale are now sold or under offer. I guess people are flocking from London to live in the countryside, buying their Defenders. What's this thing? Three-wheeler? Got a high-vis jacket on, some kind of three-wheeler. Pretty cool day out. Very nice. I think the thing I would say about this Defender is, having driven a 90 and a 110 before with the manual box and, you know, feeling very, very rugged, I just don't feel like I'm sat in a Defender that's designed from being a World War II Jeep through the Series 1, 2 and 3 into the Defender model that was, you know, effectively they pulled this car from the US after just 4 years because it just didn't have any safety standards really. There was no crash protection up front, airbags weren't a thing, and it's just moved on so much. You know, I've got my armrests here and I'm just really cruising along country lane looking at the views. It just does not feel like a Defender. Well, we're coming to the end of our time now in this new Defender, and I think I would sum it up by saying I'm kind of confused by the car a little bit and probably need to spend more time in it to really understand whether it's what it's for and what it would really be like to live with. I think they've done an incredible job, Land Rover as a company, in rebuilding the Defender from bottom up. The new infotainment system has been fantastic, super easy to connect, use, navigate. This screen has been fantastic, super clear. This really handy mirror at the back, again just using it there as I approach back into the dealership. So I think all in all it's an incredible car. They've done a fantastic job, but I think its biggest problem is the fact, A, the cost, and B, the other models in the Land Rover range. I mean, you'd be really hard pushed to choose to spend 55, 60,000 pounds on this versus, you know, a Defender, a Discovery or a Range Rover Sport that's slightly used. I mean, there's obviously a lot of these cars available. So I think that's how I would sum up the car. It's a great car. They've done an amazing job. I'm really excited to see how it sells around the world, given that it's got all of the new features that allows it to be sold in global markets. That's it. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the video for more content, subscribe to the channel for more content. Can you just do that again?